hot, very hot. Hey there, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Welcome to day 42 of our Be a Better You annual challenge. Today we're talking about yes or no people, because we all are one or the other predominantly, and sometimes we're in the middle, but for the most part, I'll share my story about whether I'm a yes or no person after we talk about the topic itself. So being a yes person means you say yes to stretching your comfort zone. You say yes to opportunities. You say yes to things that life sends your way instead of pushing back, resisting, and saying no. No people, like I used to be. And here is my analysis after much reflection why I was a no person for so long. And mostly when I was younger, and then I got a little more optimistic in corporate America when I had my kids. But then when I had my kids, I became a much more no person. Why? Because I wanted to keep them safe and I didn't want them to get in danger. So whenever they asked to do something, they pretty quickly figured out that I was going to say no first to buy myself some time to actually analyze and think about it, and then go back and decide if I was going to actually allow them to do the thing or not. I remember my son was a paintball player and he wanted to go to the World Cup of Paintball. It wasn't, and participate and actually compete in that. It's not the World Cup of Paintball. I can't remember what it's called now because it's been a long, long time ago. But I remember thinking that, and some things that my daughter wanted to do when she was growing up, that I would just automatically say no. And then I would buy myself, 10, 15 minutes to actually weigh the pros and cons or whatever other tool I was using back at the time. And then I would come back and I would say, okay, we can do it with this modification. Or, you know what, guys, I thought about it. It's still a no. We're not going to do that. So no, being a no person, I figured out, limits me. It limits my ability to even see opportunities and decide if something is something that's going to benefit me, back then, me and my family, or if it was just me being afraid to step out of my comfort zone and do things. Here's how I learned to decide. I say yes to things that are in alignment with my goals and objectives, the direction I really want to go with my life, even if I'm afraid nowadays. And it's got to be in alignment with my goals and who I am. And it's got to feel right to me in my gut and my heart. My head and heart and intuition have to all be aligned to say yes to something. And it has to be something that I actually feel excited and curious about, even though that feels the same as fear. I also realized a long time ago that to me, excitement and curiosity feel the same as fear. They're kind of at the same vibrational frequency. And I have to separate those two in my mind by thinking about it and saying, okay, am I really afraid of this? Or is it something that I'm kind of excited about because it's got the potential to move me toward what it is that I want in my goals and objectives? So I'll say yes to those things. I say no to things that don't match up with my core values and objectives. I've left jobs because I found out that stuff was going on that didn't match my personal values and ethics. And I was like, nope, not going to be a part of any of this. I've left relationships for the same reason. Both, friendships and romantic relationships, because if it's not a match, if we're not aligned at the core on our core values, the things that are most near and dear to our hearts, the relationship's not going to work out long term. Now, people come and go in our lives for a season and a reason. I always say that because sometimes we need a certain person and their skill set in our life, and then we don't need that anymore. That's why we grow apart from some of our friendships and relationships. I will also say no to anything these days that doesn't feel right to me. My head, heart, and intuition, again, have to give me a yes or a no to help me make a decision. And no to anything that's not in alignment with my core values. No to anything that feels like an obligation, not like something I want to do. If it feels like more of an obligation than an opportunity, then the answer is no, because it's not in alignment. It's not right for me right now. Doesn't mean the thing wouldn't be right for me down the road or in the past, but it's not right for me and who I am right now and where I'm going with my life. So yes or no person. Today what we're going to do is we are going to, and we could talk about all the reasons if I have my magnifying glass. It's good to be a yes or no person. When we say no to everything, we cut ourselves off from opportunity. We limit our social interactions. We limit what's possible for us because we're resistant to everything. When we say yes, we don't want to say yes to everything either, right? Or we get overwhelmed and overloaded. I used to never say no to people asking me for help with my kids or help with the school or help with things like that. I said yes to everything. And I got exhausted because I was raising 2 kids, working full time, having a business on the side, and then volunteering for things that people asked me to do. Got me in trouble physically, at least physically in trouble. I've talked about that before. So what we're going to do for a tool today is a little mini challenge within the challenge. We're going to do a 30-day challenge starting today, February 11th, 2025 to March 12th, 2025, which just happens to be my 65th birthday. So it kind of lands perfectly 30 days from now. And we are going to, every day for 30 days, say yes to something. Yes to something that stretches our comfort zone. Yes to something that we would normally not even consider, but yes to something that's still in alignment with who we are and where we're going with our goals for confidence, that is moving us toward what we want, that feels right. It feels scary, but is it scary or excited? Is it scary or curious? Do we know we can do it? I have come to discover that anything that pops into my head that I think about it for a reason, and that means I'm capable of making sure it happens and doing it. So for the next 30 days, we're going to say yes, doesn't matter how big or how small, to something that stretches our comfort zone. And why? Because when we stretch our comfort zone, when we successfully do things, it increases our confidence. And guess what? Failure, stepping stones. We want to create a growth mindset as being part of a yes person. We want to, saying yes to things helps us to grow. We don't grow when we say no to things. We just stay where we are. If we just stay where we are, if we're not improving, we're declining. There is no I'm just going to stay here forever, because everything around us is changing. And so that means that if we don't change with some of those things, we will lose ground very, very quickly. So 5-step process that we're going to use to do this 30-day challenge. Number 1, we're going to identify our fears and hesitations. What are you afraid of? I'm afraid of heights. So if I have to climb up high for something, and I probably will in the next 30 days, I'm going to say yes to it, even though I'm a little scared of it. But I'm going to do it safely. So what are our fears and hesitations? What do we hesitate to do? Do you hesitate to pick up the phone and talk to people? I'm also not a phone person. So I will be making some phone calls this month. Commit to saying yes daily, no matter how big or how small the thing is. Say yes to something and take action on it. Why? Because when we say yes to something, we take action. When we say no, we take absolute stagnation and no action. Third, we're going to document our journey. How are we going to document our journey? I don't care if you just take a piece of paper and put 1 through 30 on it. Write down every day what you said yes to. And then we're going to celebrate our wins, not only at the end on March 12th or March 13th probably, but we are going to celebrate them along the way. So if you do something big and you say yes to something big and you pull it off, reward yourself in a way that makes you feel good. And if it doesn't work, just jot down, what are my lessons learned? Why do I think it didn't work? What could I do next time? And then finally, on the 13th, probably, of March, we'll sneak a day in. I don't even know what our topic is for next month. I planned it all out, but I can't remember right now because it's different every year. I wanted to really mix it up this year. So we started with confidence. And then we're going to think about on that day and review and reflect, which is why I want you to document it and write it down, or do a video every day. I do a video every day. I'm probably going to share what I say yes to along the way, even if we're talking about different subjects. I already got my yes for today. I'm going to paint hearts to make Valentines for my granddaughter's preschool. She's 4 now. She just turned 4, but she's in 3-year-old preschool. So there's exchanging Valentines this week. And on, I don't remember what I was saying. Anyway, we're having her paint hearts for all the little kids in both classes, and then make little bracelets with their names on them. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be challenging with a 4-year-old, but fun. So then we'll just go through and we'll look at our list and we'll say, okay, well, what lessons did I learn from this? And how has it impacted my confidence? That's the whole purpose of the exercise. Don't get bogged down. Don't get scared. If you got any questions about it, hit me up and ask. If it's hard for you to ask, That might be your one yes today, is actually communicating with me and getting your question answered. All right, that's it. Any questions? Ask. Otherwise, I'll be with you tomorrow.